So now we want to add another div to this layout to start further refining how things will be positioned on the page. To do that, I'm going to place my cursor inside this div and add another div inside it. And at this point, I'm going to move to split screen. Now, if you're much of a programmer, you like the code yourself anyway. But if you're a designer and you're not used to looking at the code, I want to encourage you to get in the habit of having your screen split about like this. I like to have a design area to work in, but be able to keep an eye on what's happening in the background, especially if I'm working with divs like this. So I want to make sure that my cursor is inside this first div, which has the ID container. This little highlighting on this bracket means that my cursor is in the right place, and I can see here it's there. I'm not going to replace that when I add a new div. And I can simply double click to insert another div into this design. Now it can get a little tricky to select divs inside of divs. So if I put my cursor in here trying to find the div I want, I'm not always sure I get the right one. Here are two ways you can make sure you're selecting the right div. One is to select it in the breadcrumb trail up here. The other is to simply click and highlight it in the code itself. And either one will work, and you'll still be able to create and apply styles, even if you've selected the div in the code. So I'm going to choose New Style, and I'm going to create another style. Again, the first thing we want to do is give this style a name. And again, we're creating an ID style because we're positioning a div, and we want a style we'll only use once on the page. So deleting everything in the selector field, starting with the pound sign. I'm going to call this one Top. Now in the position category, I can set the width again to match my first div. This is optional because it would be controlled by the div it's inside, but I want to make sure that it stays the size of my banner no matter what. So I'll go ahead and specify that. And I'm going to set a height for this one as well, because I want this div to perfectly fit my banner, and I know that the graphic for my banner is 780 by 148. If you're not sure about a graphic you're going to put in a div, you can always resize it after you insert the image. This time I'll show you a shortcut. If you click this box next to Apply New Style to Document Selection, then as you create the style, it will automatically be applied to your div.